All right, checking in with you on a Sunday afternoon, a Sunday fun day. There is nothing going on today. I actually went to the gym, even though it's my off day, worked on some box squats and just some form-related stuff just to get it in. If you follow me on Instagram, you already saw that, but sitting here in this afternoon with nothing to do, I'm gonna make me some muffins using some very simple ingredients and this pre-packaged box that I found at the grocery store. So let's get muffin making, guys. Sexy time.
Hey, what time is it?
It's muffin time! It's muffin time!
Actually, it's 12:30.
Somebody kill me!
Meanwhile, in Texas, all right, so Monday back in the gym, what we had was deadlifts, deficit deads as the main accessory work, then some squats and pull-ups, and you guys should know by now that I've been trying to squat on every single deadlift day now because I really want to up the frequency and get some more overall volume in my leg training. And it's been working pretty good so far, so I don't really see a reason to change it. Now, for this particular day for deadlifts, it was a speed day, so 5 sets of 2 at 410, and things are moving really well. Now, this is actually early in the morning, so before work, and the reason I wanted to do this is, if you're paying attention to the news, the Northeast and New England specifically is supposed to get hit pretty hard with snow. They're saying like 20 to 30 inches here where I am on the coast of Rhode Island. So I wanted to make sure that I got the gym in before having to deal with the crowds or the weather or anything like that. And things went well considering that this is fairly heavy for me and I've been staying away from training early without having maybe a lot of food in my system as of this point. But overall, things were going pretty well. Now, personally speaking, I always feel like my speed deadlifts look like shit. I don't know if that's just because I'm really hesitant to really throw my complete body into it just because I don't want to snap my shit up, or maybe just I'm not using an Oki bar, and a lot of people that I watch get a lot more whip with the bar and it makes it look a lot more impressive. I don't know what it is, but it's my little side rant for the day, I guess. Moving on, we then did 4 sets of 5 for deficit pulls, about a 1.5 inch deficit or so. Just kept the weight static here. Again, just trying to get more volume in, and these felt really tough, but looking at them back on the video, it actually went really smooth. Of course, just showing you the first set here to save time. From there, we moved on to some squat work, so we did 3 sets of 5 reps each using 405. Just recorded 2 of the 3 sets here because I wanted to make sure that I got a side view, and I got a 3/4 view as well just because I've been using that as the intro and outro to a lot of these clips. But overall, I really like how these felt and how they looked. Again, I think my depth is getting better. Using flat shoes here, traditionally on my second squat day, I'll use my Olympic shoes. I don't have as much ankle collapsing as I did in the past, but it's still something that I definitely need to work on. So then you're seeing my second set here. Again, just wanted to make sure that I got deep enough, and I felt like I did. I think on the last 2 reps, my ankle collapsing was a little bit better, only because I was really thinking about going down, is trying to keep the weight more on my heels some. So you see that get a little bit better throughout the course of this set. Again, it's nothing that I'm overly concerned with, just trying to nitpick here of things that I could potentially improve on. But overall, doing 3 sets of 5 with 405 after having done that deadlift volume beforehand is a win in my book. After that, for the second week in a row, I forgot to bring my weighted belt. So normally I do like weighted pull-ups or weighted chin-ups. I forgot to do it. Just so happened to work out that instead I did 4 sets of 10 just body weight, trying to get a full range of motion here and pull myself up to the bar as well. These went fairly well, and that's going to really wrap up the workout. So if you want to find out more, follow me in Fitocracy. I log everything, even warm-up sets there. Alright, so we're going to change it up just a little bit this video, as you should be accustomed to now seeing my bench footage typically after my deadlift and squat. And the reason we're changing it up because, well, here in Rhode Island on Monday, it is snowing pretty hard, and we're supposed to get about 20 to 30 inches more. Yeah, that's what she said, for sure. But for this, because I'm probably not going to be able to go to the gym tomorrow and bench, I know, trust me, the struggle is definitely real, my friends. I figured I'd go ahead and do a little bit of a quick equipment review for you because I've been getting a lot of questions on that. Now, what are we going to be talking about? The SBD stiff and the SBD flexible wrist wraps, or as I like to call them, the stiff and the floppy, if you know what I'm saying. Now, for this, I should say that I was given these wrist wraps from Anderson Powerlifting, where I go to get all my SBD stuff. And by all my SBD stuff, I mean my wrist wraps and my knee sleeves, because that's the only SBD gear I have. But they're a great place to go and get SBD stuff here in the States if you're looking for them. Now, as far as these wrist wraps go, I do want to compare them to my preferred wrist wrap of choice, the Gangster Wraps.
What's up, homeboy?
Where we at?
ATL, Gwinnett, dog. Gangsters in Gwinnett. What you know, white boys can get ghetto too, you know what I'm talking about? Shit.
What up, gangsta? Now, the reason I want to compare them to the gangster wraps is because that's the wrap that I use most often, and I get sent a lot of different wrist wraps, and I still find myself gravitating back to the wrist wraps from Mark Smelly Bell. Now, as far as the price on these wraps go, the SBDs, regardless of which kind you go for, the stiff or the floppy, they're going to run you $47.99 or $48 generally speaking. Now, to compare that to the gangster wraps, my preferred wrap, those retail for $45. So very similar price point. And SBD makes great equipment out there. If you've ever used their knee sleeves or their singlets or their elbow sleeves, you guys know that they are high quality equipment, and thus the prices tended to be a little bit higher. But you definitely get what you pay for. Now, I've been using both of these wraps the last couple of weeks, and I've been getting a lot of questions in regards to which one is better and would you recommend them. So first of all, let's just talk about the different wraps. So we have the stiff ones and the floppy ones here, and you can really just tell the difference by the way that they're made. So the floppy ones have a little bit of black ridge to them, which is weird because you'd think the stiff ones would be more black. Wait, what? But as far as these go, I have to say I prefer more of the floppy or flexible ones just because I find they're not as stiff on my wrist. And I know what you're probably thinking. Don't you want a stiff wrist wrap? Well, you do, but these ones give you plenty of support, while the stiff ones to me actually hurt my wrist, especially for someone who has these limp wrists like this, and I don't have a lot of flexibility, so putting a load on my wrists, interpret that how you will, I'm really forced to jack my wrist back. Loads, jacking, stiff, floppy. This video is going terribly so far, but I actually find that the stiff ones give me a bit of wrist pains, where the flexible ones don't really have that, but they still offer the support that I need in my little girly wrists. Now, as far as how they compare to the gangster wrap, I do have to say I still prefer the gangster wrap, and the main reason why has to do with the damn thumb loop. Yes, I know. Spoiled by this stupid little thumb loop. So here on the SBDs, they actually have left and right hand specific wrist wraps. So for someone who's in the gym like me and doesn't have the highest IQ as is, I have to really figure out which hand this goes on first. And for that, after figuring it out, once I wrap this, look at this little guy. It really jacks my thumb back, which I'm not a big fan of. This is really uncomfortable, and it puts my hand in this really awkward position. Look at, starting to cut off circulation to my goddamn fingers. But for this, I know what you're probably thinking. The thumb loop shouldn't be that big of a deal because in a competition anyways, you would have to unloop it, which is a very good solid point. But when I'm in the gym just training and not actually in a competition, which by the way, I only compete several times a year, I always leave my thumb loop fully engaged. So this is really a detractor for me. It's even worse on these stiff ones than it is on the floppy or flexible ones, but it's just a real big pain in the ass. Now compare that to the gangster wrap and Mark Bell's version here. You see he has the thumb loop that's straight across, and the reason I like this is you can go either way. Yes, you can go on your right hand, no problem. You can go this way on your right hand, no problem. You want to mix it up, maybe like you were back in college and go the other way, you can do that, no problem. So I really like how it is here on the gangster wraps, and if the SBDs had that, I would be a lot higher on them overall. Now, that's not to say the SBD aren't a great pair of wrist wraps. They are. In fact, I would still highly recommend them. I would just say I prefer the gangster wraps over them, but I would put them in the same ballpark. It really comes down to your own personal preference for that thumb loop and how stiff you like it. So, that being said, the only other question that people might have is, are they IPF approved? And yes, they are. That's one of the big reasons why SBD is so popular, because they are IPF approved. Although I will say I'm fairly certain the gangster wraps are now officially IPF approved as well. But don't take my word for it. Do your own damn research and stop relying on YouTube so much, because you're really going to end up fucking yourself. And that's a good message to end the video on. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big. 69's not very heavy. Maybe if I go kilos. Yeah, still not too heavy. I'll have to figure something out.